Join spiritual psychologist and India's number one biofeedback practitioner, Ritu Malhotra, as she guides you through the paths of self discovery and personal transformation so that you can live in alignment with your values and purpose. You are listening to the Cellular Alchemist podcast, and here's your host, Ritu Malhotra.
A wise man once said, "Never make fun of someone who speaks broken English. It means they know another language." My American friend laughs at me when I say granite, and he pronounces it as granite. And I laugh louder when he says jalopy instead of jalopy. Americans speak American, not English. It's another language. But this is all, of course, in jest. It's quite another story when someone is ridiculed for mispronouncing croissant the way the French would. Why should we have to say it correctly? If you've ever visited France, you would know that the proud French refuse to speak to you in English unless they are forced to. When the Japanese say namaste, we think it's cute. Though I learned that Japan refuses to teach English widely because they think it's a threat to their own language. So it's no revelation that the Brits colonized the Indian mind and taught us that speaking the Queen's English was a way of maintaining privilege. But now we need to understand that not being able to say almond perfectly is not a social sin. But how many others have you met who condescend to think so? Here I want to share Raju's story. It may resonate with some of you. Raju works in a graphic design department of a pop culture advertising firm. He studied in a Marathi medium school until his father could afford an English school in the last years of his schooling. He says that the reason he got the job was because he understood a few pop culture references like Pink Floyd and Metallica and quoted some Eminem lyrics. But every time the group spoke of the latest trends in movies or fashion, he would just smile and nod. He felt lost. Raju realized that everyone around him had grown up with this cultural shorthand, so to speak, and he hadn't. His exposure was limited, and he didn't come from inherited privilege. But this exposure that he was getting here was his currency. He understood that he may have been a good meme creator, but to navigate this Mumbai world that he needed subtler ways in rhythm and taste, a new dance step, and when to laugh at Spider-Verse or quote from Fleabag, for instance. From his background, no one had handed him this memo. He felt small, isolated, and he panicked at times. It just said to him, "You're not from here." A very fragile social position. So Raju came to me plagued with self doubt. But slowly, over a period of 4 sessions, he learned to change doubt into recognizing what was right about him. And now, at work or in any social group, when he doesn't know a reference, he just says it. "I haven't seen this. Tell me about it." Or, "I don't know this, but I'd like to." He's learning, listening, picking up things with curiosity. He's training himself in how to think, to listen and speak. And that's how he would belong. He understood that. In this way, he was learning to hustle in the right way. The shift from absorbing to asserting is where self respect begins to take root. His audience didn't change, they were still the same kind of people he'd always been around. But it was the clarity about his own value and what he brought to the table because of it that had changed. Now he would walk into every room without shrinking. And isn't that beautiful? Isn't that we all need from time to time? So here's to healing for us all. Till we meet again.
That was this week's episode for the Cellular Alchemist podcast with spiritual psychologist Ritu Malhotra. Don't forget to follow the podcast and join us next week for yet another episode. Thank you for listening.